Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. I'm Kapadia. Overall, if you see in terms of markets, it seems like it's going to be the eighth consecutive session of fall in terms of where benchmark indices go. Joining us on the show to discuss the direction from here on, we have Hemen Kapadia, Senior VP Institutional Equity at Choksey Stocks and Securities. Hemen, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Very good afternoon, Hiral. Thank you for having me on the show. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Thanks. Hemant, my first question coming to you is overall, if you see in terms of Nifty as well, or the markets, they've continued to trade on a weak note. And clearly, on the options front, 17,400 has seen both fresh put and call writing. So clearly, what's the sense that you're picking up?
Well, frankly speaking, Hiral, the setup has got spoiled. The dollar index has posted a bottom. Despite the VIX not being on the higher side, it has remained sub 15, normally 13 and a half, 14, and at 14 right now. That's not helped stem the fall. And the architect of the pounds, which came in a couple of weeks back, Reliance seems to have taken a cool off, Hiral. So, frankly speaking, uh, succinctly put, we peaked at around 13th October 2021. Then we made a new high, but the way I see it, after that move, the correction for the market is still not over, and we're still undergoing that. Cutting it a bit fine right now. 17,226 is support. Downside does appear limited at this point in time. Once again, I'm saying downside is limited with a caveat. There is no reversal yet, but I believe it's looking a bit limited. A bounce is around the corner, but the setup doesn't look good here. It's just a matter of time before the bounce comes and it peters out and we continue the downward journey.
Right. So, what are the key levels we should be watching out for in terms of Nifty and, from here on?
I think the first immediate level which comes from minus 17,226 here, followed by 17055, followed by 16,900. On the flip side, I think 17,430 is the first level. I mean, we take out 17,430, ideally close above it. I think that would be the first technical positive step in the sense of a recovery playing out, followed by 17,613 and 17,792. 17,792 will turn out to be a roadblock of sorts. It would be a pleasant surprise if we overcome that sometime down the line. So these are the levels one can keep an eye from a, let's say, a 2 3 week point of view.
Right. Moving on, if you see in terms of Bank Nifty as well, yesterday we saw a divergent trend between Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. But today, again, it has succumbed under pressure. What levels are we watching out for in terms of Bank Nifty? And do you think there is a reversal in place for Bank Nifty, or do you think the pressure could continue on the downside?
Little bit of resilience, but I'm not sure how long it's going to hold on here. We need a close above 40,400. If I would take a very intraday sort of a call, there's not much of intraday. We have 5 minutes left. So let's say if I were to take a 24-hour call, 4,400 is important. Otherwise, we need a close above 4,600, and then we can expect a bounce coming in. Downside support, very strong support comes in at around 39,500 either. I don't think we are getting there yet, but if that were to break sometime down the line, that would mean chaos and mayhem. So as of now, 39,425 or 39,500 holds. Extreme near term 40,074, while this 4,400 and 4,600 needs a closing above to go to 4,800 and maybe 41,000.
Right. So that's with regards to Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. Now coming to, specific counters, if you see in terms of Reliance Industries, Infosys, ITC, Axis Bank, these are the names which are actually pulling the Sensex lower as well as Nifty. What's the indication you're picking up specifically from a FNO perspective as well, if you have to look at these names?
Well, frankly speaking, if I were to look at Reliance, it looks a bit wobbly. There's no doubt, and we are coming to test its earlier bottom of 2293, and we're at 2318 right now. So, frankly speaking, okay, yeah, it is oversold, and the premium isn't much. We have a 15 point premium as far as Reliance and Reliance futures are concerned here. So, if 2293 were to break, that would mean trouble. Coming back to Infosys, we've seen IT peak at in Jan 2022, and that picture overall hasn't changed. We rode piggyback on Nasdaq to give a bounce back, but frankly speaking, things haven't changed. Okay, we saw decent, if not a good bounce back, but that seems to be now running out of steam. If you see TCS, if you see Infosys, most of the IT majors are looking tired. And I have a feeling that the recent lows posted 4 5 months ago are going to be tested in the next couple of months. So the setup doesn't look good. Extreme near term, I think it's a bit overdone. Whether it's Reliance or Infosys, both are coming. Okay, Infosys support is 1478. We've gone to 1481 today. So we are close to support. Volume has spiked up here. If you look at the cash market volume as far as
Hmm.
concerned, volume is highest in the last some 14 trading sessions. At support, higher volumes, I would say, is stronger hands are bought. But everything points towards an oversold and a recovery sort of a market. I don't expect any fireworks or anything major to unfold on the upside here.
Right. Moving on, if you see in terms of auto names as well, say if you take in Ashok Leland, the stock is up and we are seeing some bit of open interest addition coming in on that name as well. What's your view with an Ashok Leland?
Well, it's come off from 169 to 135 here. Bounce back at 156 and we are back to 138. So frankly speaking, it's once again there's not too much of meaning to these moments. Yes, if it's fallen in X amount, a recovery will retrace some of the fall, no doubt. We could be back to 156. Okay, today the last day of the month here, so the monthly charts will end today. If we close
Hmm.
where we are, uh, uh, Ashok Leyland monthly MACD is giving a sell. Now, if okay, I don't expect anything dramatic to change in the next 2 minutes. So if
Hmm.
that's the case, notwithstanding a small bounce, this would mean that Ashok Leyland is not going to make a new high this year, and is probably the setup has been spoiled probably for at least a year or so. If this monthly MACD sell gets confirmed in the next 2 minutes here.
Right. Apart from that, if you see in terms of, say, a Bank of Baroda, clearly, it seems as if short positions are being built on that counter. What do you make of a Bank of Baroda?
We've Most of the PSUs have had a nice run up. The setup for Bank of Baroda from a longer term point of view does look better than the rest of the market, but you're right. In the extreme short term, 160 has turned out to be a bugbear of sorts. It doesn't look as if it's going to close below that. I believe there would be a block deal. There's 17 CR volume in Bank of Baroda cash market now. This is humongous. I don't think this has happened in at least a year. So this is strange. I'm not sure how to read that. But yes, lower top, lower bottoms looks heavy below 160. Wouldn't be surprised if we come to 148, if we close below 152, Hiran.
Right. Simultaneously, if you have to look at a Tata Steel as well as a Vedanta as well, both the stocks are under pressure in today's session. And if you see, interestingly, Tata Steel, clearly, if you see the open interest addition around 7.5%, Vedanta, interestingly, is seeing an open interest addition of almost around 20 to 23%. What do you make of these counters? And do you think it warrants any entry levels tomorrow from a short position?
I Tata Steel, I'll reiterate, Hiral, I'm bullish on the dollar index.
Hmm.
The dollar index is currently at 104.73. I
Hmm.
believe 105.50 and 107.50 is on the anvil. It could take, it's not a very short term call, it could take a couple of weeks, but or maybe a few weeks. But if the dollar index is doing what it's doing and threatening to do what it is saying, uh, metals have gone for a toss. Peak has been made, but yes, if you're like you're saying from a shorter term point of view, Tata Steel is getting oversold. We have strong support at 102. I wouldn't advocate a short at this level. I would wait for a reversal to play for a dead cat bounce, but I believe it's a too little bit too late to sell and too early to buy here.
Right. Apart from that, what do you make of a Cipla? It's one of the top losers in terms of Nifty 50. Again, strong open interest addition coming in on this counter.
On technical parameters, Cipla has run its course of its move from 360 to 1180. I believe it's headed for a 12 to 18 month correction. rock solid support uh, between 860 and 900. That's where for the timing it could take a breather, have some respite. But okay, 4 months it's taken to come off. So in the extreme near term, I believe we would get some sort of support. But same story here. Long-term charts don't look good. I think we'll get everything cheaper, especially Sipla. We're in
Hmm.
Feb end right now, last day. Probably somewhere in June or July, I think Sipla would be below 850.
Right, so that's with regards to where a Cipla goes. In terms of other counters, you have a Z Entertainment as well. It was out of FNO from today onwards. We will see it enter the May series as well. What would you advise on the Z Entertainment?
Event-driven stock, the amount, whatever happened in terms of objections and the case file, I thought was a bit churlish, but nevertheless, even before that, Hiral, if I look at the technical setup, we've been down for 5 months in a row. Okay, everything played out over the last few weeks, no doubt. But even before that, it couldn't overcome 300, which was a major intermediate resistance Hiral. And once again, the setup has gone. So, okay, this has given a knee-jerk relief and coming back to FNO and all. I think it's people can breathe easily, especially who are taking position because I think it was 100% margin. Near term, 210 is important, but I would stay away. I don't think it looks good. Yes, if you want to play a very sharp trade, you need to have yesterday's low of 176 as a stop loss if you want to play it. But I don't see any compelling reason to do so. Once again, you'll get everything cheaper later, including Z.
Hmm. Right. One Adani Group company which has seen a strong reversal from days low to days are Adani Enterprises. Uh, Hemen, what do you make of an Adani Enterprises? Because the stock is now up around 15%, around 7.5% open interest addition that we've seen in intraday trade. Are you seeing some bit of interest that's coming back on a technical perspective? Are you seeing strength?
Absolutely, Hiral. You hit the nail on the head. Along with the open interest OI addition that you've
Hmm.
mentioned, the cash market is also supporting what you're saying,
Hmm.
Hiral. 3 crores 39 lakhs. That's big. Once again, these are not delivery marking data, so we need to wait to see how much of the delivery marking. But OI addition, huge volume, technically oversold, didn't break the recent low, upward bar reversal. Everything seems to suggest that time being, the rot has stopped.
Hmm.
Once again, I'm basing this on one single day's trading session. I don't think that's a very healthy thing to do. But whatever data and whatever limited resources we have, I believe the worst is almost over, setting the stage for a bounce back. And I wouldn't be surprised if Adani Enterprise from here goes back to 18 and 1900 levels in the next week or two.
Right. Himin, apart from the names we've discussed right now, any other stocks that catch your eyes in terms of which could be good bets one should be looking at from tomorrow's perspective?
Okay, I think Gujarat Gas is one stock which looks a bit interesting. Uh, Last 4 days, we've been in a sideways movement, but the weekly charts seem to suggest an intermediate uptrend. So Gujarat Gas is something which one can consider. It looks interesting, despite the breakout not yet materializing, but I'm anticipating a breakout.
Hmm.
Second stock is ACC. Same logic applies. Higher volume, oversold, at support. I believe a bounce is around the corner. So, okay, ACC would quantify at a slightly higher risk stock for obvious reasons. But Gujarat Gas and ACC is something I would say that in a wobbly market, these have the propensity, at least the capacity to surprise on the upside.
Right. So these are stocks we should be watching out for as well. Thank you, Hemen, so much for
Thank you.
joining us on the show and giving us those views and the counters which one should be looking at as well. But overall, if you see in terms of markets, it has been a negative day of trade. We did start on a positive note, but not able to sustain those gains. If you see Nifty, it hit a low of almost 17,255 in today's trading session and has managed to close somewhere. In fact, will be closing somewhere in that range of 17,300 with cuts of almost around 85 to 90 points coming in there. Similarly, there has been no support that has come in from Bank Nifty as well. Bank Nifty, though, has seen minor cuts of around 0.1%, around 40,269 is the level that we're tracking with regards to Bank Nifty. And if you see in terms of Sensex as well, the cuts were almost deep, around 300 points lower is what we've seen, around 5/10 to 6/10%, in terms of Sensex as well. In fact, overall, if you go to see, it has been a trading day with a negative bias, though there has been a recovery from the day's lowest levels overall. Apart from that, a clear indication is that there is some outperformance coming in from the broader markets, because if you see the mid cap and the small cap index, they have ended in the positive. Pharma index, the top losing sector, whereas the gains that we saw specifically with regards to auto and media on the back of C entertainment were mostly offset by the kind of slide that we saw in terms of metal names in today's session. Overall, the breadth was in favor of the bears. Reliance, Infosys, ITC, Axis Bank, these were few of the counters that were pulling markets lower and putting pressure on an overall basis. Adani Enterprises, Adani Ports, Asian Paints, as well as Power Grid. These are the top gain stocks in today's session, whereas Cipla, Hindalco, Coal India, Reliance Industries, as well as Tata Steel are few of the top losers as well. If you see in terms of broader markets, a good support came in from a JSW Energy. Uflex has seen a quite a bit reversal after the kind of raid that we heard about and the sessions that were weak. Yes Bank as well as a Triveni and Turbine have been trading sharply in a positive trade. Indiabulls Real Estate, Vedanta, Paytm, KRBL, these were few of the top losers as well in terms of BSE 500. But overall setup, if you go to see, there is some bit of weakness that does sustain, warrant. And we're trading in a very precarious zone in terms of where markets are concerned. There is pressure still building it on the downside. So any bounce backs that we see will be only short lived, and that's what analysts are indicating at the moment. But clearly, overall, a downward day of trade. I think this will be the eighth consecutive session where we've ended in the negative terrain in terms of where markets are concerned. That's all that we have in this session. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend. Sorry, have a great evening.